So, the main proposition for the cloud was to make things simpler, to make things more cost efficient,
Exactly.
and to make things maybe more and more faster.
Yeah.
So, was the cloud really, the propositions were really met by the CIOs?
At the core, the cloud is better engineering. I often use the analogy that my father's car, when he was my age, it used more fuel, it went more slowly, and it was more dangerous. Mine uses no fuel, goes much more quickly, and is safe. How can that be? How is it possible? There must be some catch. Well, there's not a catch. It's just better engineering. And in the same way, the concept of cloud, elasticity, pooled resources, it is better engineering. So it does go more quickly. It can deal with more spikes. But at the core of your question is, it's great, I've got a better car than my dad, but do I take advantage of it? It's how I use it that will give me the true advantages. Am I taking advantage of that, these new skills? And I think that's where the modern CIO can really get a competitive advantage by learning how best to make use, not just of the cloud, but of all the technologies. The pandemic brought to us in particular the need for more digital channels, more digital interactions, and of course that resulted in greater demands upon computing power. And yes, the cloud came to help, but using it smartly, I think, is something we're going to learn, all of us learn more and more into the future.
Yeah. So, but the main problem with the cloud is not a problem, but the main concern about the cloud is that the migration problem. So people do not want to be specifically use a single vendor. So when it comes to migration, people hesitate about the cloud as well. So what's your proposition on that?
So I think that you're right. Obviously, before you invest in a change, before you make a change, you need to be very sure it's going to be the right thing. And I would suggest everybody ask their vendor, do a correct business case. Couple of thoughts though. First of all, most organizations are likely to find that the best model for them is a hybrid model, at least for years to come. Something on premise that they tend to have tighter operational control over, that is likely to have issues of data sovereignty, for example, and then other workloads which perhaps are better suited to the cloud, the elasticity, and the performance and cost benefits. So a hybrid model is a key part of our proposition. You don't need to move everything now to get the advantages, far from it. It's a question of piece by piece that makes business sense. Second point I would make, Mark, is that as every day goes by, we move more and more workloads. So across all of Europe, Middle East and Africa, we are moving literally hundreds of workloads every month. Literally hundreds of Oracle workloads are moving on to the cloud every month. And we've introduced a service called Lift, which, subject to certain criteria, of course, is actually offered for free. So we will help customers migrate onto the public cloud. And obviously, the more we do that, the more we learn. So we get faster and faster, and we reduce the risks of migration. So one, hybrid, and two, if you are migrating to the cloud, we'll certainly be able to help you on that journey.
Great, that's great. So in your presentation, you also said that predicting the future is very important asset for us now. So, I mean, we were very familiar with the finance companies. They were trying to predict what will be the next opportunity for them. But in the pandemics, we learned that also the retail sector is also using how to predict the future, how to predict the behaviors of the customers, right? So, is it so important for everyone to predict the future, and how do companies get the benefit from it?
I think that's a great question, Murat. It's a very insightful point. It's true that often, let's face it, the financial organizations tend to be at the leading edge. They're thinking a lot about information, and you're absolutely correct. You can't predict, big changes. Of course you can't. Nobody's pretending you can predict every aspect of the future. But very often, there are leading indicators in the world of what's going to happen. There are things signs that start to appear. Volcanoes don't erupt truly unexpectedly like we thought they did. Usually there's some tremors or some signs. It's a question of finding them. Finance learned how to do that. Retail is learning how to do that. What are the signs that means this behaviour is likely to change? I believe that absolutely every organisation can. Healthcare, telco, predicting. In fact, here in Turkey, there's many examples of some very advanced thinking in predicting customer behaviour accurately in telco. But yes, in every industry, as humans, we still waste an awful lot of time. And I don't mean wasting it by sitting on a beach reading a book. As far as I'm concerned, that's not a waste of time. That's good use of time. We're wasting time when we do something, solve a problem that's already been solved. When we spend our time in something that doesn't have an outcome. That happens in every business, in every industry. And we can use information to help save us time, help save us wasting time by predicting better. I don't think there's any business where that wouldn't work, including in my own family.
yeah, that's good. So today I have met a few CIOs here right now, and the main issue is that people want to be more innovative with their company.
Yeah.
And the upper management always insists that be more innovative. You are a CIO, maybe you are the Chief Innovation Officer.
Yeah.
So it is possible only with using the technology to be innovative.
Oh no, it's all about brains and people. I love this. I heard a phrase the other day from a CIO actually, who says he suffers from the in-flight magazine. So his boss goes and goes on a flight. We're back in reality. Reads it back there. Oh, innovation! I want some of that. Can I have that tomorrow, please?
Yeah, that's so easy,
It's easy to say. Innovation. Innovation comes from hard work. Actually, innovation comes from understanding really what's going on. Why is it that problem always sticks there? Why do we spend 2 hours there when we really should be spending 10 minutes? You really need to understand what's going on across an organisation, to understand what the problem is before you can solve it and innovate. And I think, yes, technology can really help us do that. You can see inside the business, you can see where reds and greens, you can see where things are working, where things are not working. But honestly, the last piece in that equation, yes, AI can help, yes, analytics can help, data is essential. End of the day, it's a human being has to think, that's a problem and I can fix it.
But another issue with that is that, for example, I'm a media company, so I need to learn what my peers are doing.
Yes.
That's maybe the main issue. I mean, maybe that CEO wants, that CEO reads the In-Flight magazine and said, okay, our peers are more innovative than us.
Yeah.
So how does Oracle help me? For example, do Oracle help me that your business standards are here, but you are just below them. So we will take you up here with our technology. Is that something possible?
Yes, it is. And in fact, there's two ways in which I think we can help. You raise a very, very good point. Often that innovation can occur across industry as well. So I was with several CIOs the other day, and they were saying amongst construction, and they can learn from one another, but you know what? They can also learn from many different organisations outside. You just mentioned finance. What are they doing? How are they predicting? So we can certainly help in bringing best practice and thoughts and activities from other industries. But you're absolutely right. When you stand back from technology companies and Oracle in particular, one of the things we can do, we're a solution company, we look at outcomes, but in order to drive a successful outcome, our approach is to create products and services. And what is a product or a service? It is something that is replicable. It's actually at its heart, a cloud service or software, at its heart is a process that it can be replicated. It's there to be used again and again and again and can be bought by many others. And so when you think about it, we're doing that constantly. We're taking the very best practice of whether it is security, for example, security practices and procedures and configurations and policies, or in our business applications, the process, HR processes. We take the very best of these, and yes, we productize them. We make them consumable and replicable for a much wider community. And in that sense, I think that can help drive growth and value for a much broader number of organizations across the globe.
And another concern for the companies that will survive for the next decades, because the native digital born companies are so much, they are so powerful, and they change the way the business so differently. So every company in its own sector, for example, you mentioned, or you both mentioned about the finance sector. So the native digital born finance startups are changing the business a lot.
Yeah.
So
well, we survived.
What they should do? I mean, they should close the company and became a newborn digital
There
company.
was a thought of that, wasn't there? I remember during
yeah.
the .com boom, there was a little bit of a trend that we would do Newco and we would
.com.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And we would start a new one. That's maybe not so prevalent. I mean, I'm a great believer. I'm a progressive, a great child of the Enlightenment, and I believe that such disruptions are good. I think if they're taken in the right way, you look at what others are doing and you learn from them and adopt it and adapt. Yes, you're right. You see startup banks, you see startup shipping companies. I see great evidence now that existing organisations with real assets, ships, existing customers, real estate.
Even the buildings, maybe.
Even the buildings, the physical
offices,
buildings, the real estate. Yeah, I see organisations looking around them and seeing the startups, saying, I want the best of these things, but I've got assets too, and putting the two together. The smartest companies are doing exactly that. I see logistics companies with trucks and ships taking some of the ideas of born in the cloud organisations, Uber-style approaches, and combining that with their assets and being tremendously successful. I think we're in for a great period. If only the world can solve some of its other obvious problems. Actually, I think we're in for a great period of wealth creation over coming decades as we apply technology and the learnings of born in the cloud to our existing assets. We could be in for a good period.
Thank you so much. It was
Great
so
pleasure.
nice to
and lovely to see you again.
Discuss with technology with you 2 years later again.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you.